Hello and good morning to everyone. Greetings from Berlin. My name is Karen Helmstead, and on behalf of EIT Manufacturing, it is a great pleasure for me to welcome you to the first ever EIT Manufacturing Summit. Taking place, of course, in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic and an extremely challenging year 2020, which is why we're holding it in virtual form, very obviously, and as it happens, streaming to you live from the German capital. So welcome to you all. Now, as one of the youngest of the EIT innovation communities, EIT Manufacturing is very keen to update its growing community on the results of its first operational year. And as you can imagine, it has been quite an eventful one. The manufacturing sector in Europe employs over 30 million people in some 2 million enterprises. And so it's clear that it's a sector with absolutely huge potential to boost Europe's post-pandemic recovery, but also to enable the transition to a circular economy. Now, this year, the European Commission has also launched the EU Green Deal and its new industrial strategy, both of which map out ambitious plans for the green and digital transitions. But I think you'll all agree with me, it's pretty clear that these transitions are only possible if all of industry is on board. And as the challenges of the COVID pandemic are continually showing us, we can't rely only on global supply chains. We do need to have some European alternatives, which is why obviously European manufacturing and the whole sector needs to be strengthened and made fit for the future. Well, EIT Manufacturing, with its innovation model, brings together business, research, and education to do just that. And the purpose of this summit is to show what it has accomplished so far. Thanks very much to all of you for tuning in from all across the continent for what we hope is going to be a very inspiring and productive 2 days. And on that note, a quick overview of the program, because today on day one, we'll be focusing on the notions of green and resilient manufacturing and how to achieve it, with keynotes on the EIT in Horizon Europe and on working with startups, and we'll follow that up with a panel discussion. And then on day two, we will have a couple of high-level keynotes from the Commission before we meet a large selection of the EIT manufacturing projects that have come up through 2020, and so we'll see some great results from its first year before the year is even up. A couple of very quick technical remarks. Be sure to have a look around over these 2 days, have a look around our summit platform and the expo area where you'll find booths from a number of our partners. And we'll have a networking session is scheduled to take place there later on this afternoon. For the Q&A after our panel discussion, at the top right of your screen, you'll see a Q&A button, and that is where you can post your questions. As for social media, and those of you taking part there, the Twitter hashtag is EITM Summit, all uppercase. But you can also follow Manufacturing Impact and be sure to follow all of the conversations that are happening there. If you should need any help, do use that chat, or you can also email my support group here at support@eitsummit.eu. And finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to do a big shout out to the many partners who have come along with EIT Manufacturing on this journey of the first year and for taking on all of the exceptional challenges of 2020 together. So a big thanks to them. And with that, it is time to get started, ladies and gentlemen and participants, with our first session. And it is a great pleasure for me to introduce Klaus Beetz, who is the CEO of EIT Manufacturing. And he's actually here with me in the studio. Welcome, Klaus. It is so nice to have one person in flesh and blood here in the studio with me. Welcome to Berlin. Now, if there are people in the audience, perhaps out there, who don't know what EIT Manufacturing is, how would you describe the organization? Let's start that way.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Karin, for the kind introduction, and a warm welcome to all the people across Europe that are listening to us and that are interested in manufacturing and in EIT Manufacturing. EIT Manufacturing is one of the most recent 8 innovation communities operating under the umbrella of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. So we are a community of manufacturers. We are invest in innovation, education, and business creation, leveraging the EIT model of integrating these 3 areas. We are a public-private partnership with up to 60 partners from academia, from RDOs, but more than 50% are from industry. And our goal is to ensure that manufacturing innovation is led by Europe also in the future. Mm-hmm. Europe has always been the home of manufacturing industry and a pioneer in industrial innovation, starting with Industry 1.0, where we moved from manual work to mechanical production, till nowadays to Industry 4.0, where we are moving towards the digital economy. And the transformation of Europe into a climate-neutral continent is a new opportunity for the European manufacturing industry again to become the innovation leaders in this regard.
So you're coming to the end of this very exciting first operational year, as I've mentioned. Tell us briefly how it's been going and perhaps what some of the highlights have been. I know there have been a few.
Yeah, I'm very proud to give you some highlights we achieved this year. It was our first operational year, so we had to build the ecosystem. So we established 5 co-location centers and in addition 13 innovation hubs in so-called risk countries. We supported more than 80 innovation, education and business creation projects across Europe. More than 2,000 people have already been trained by the community's education activities. Close to 30 new high potential innovation projects have been identified and supported. 7 startups have been supported directly with financial support, and one of them is BlueSense, and BlueSense won yesterday the EIT Venture Award.
At the
so
EIT
congratulations to Filippo and the whole team in Denmark. This is a great achievement for BlueSense, but as well for EIT Manufacturing. And for the first edition of our Boost Up competition, we have received more than 180 highly innovative startups and SMEs applied for this competition. And you are all cordially invited to the grand final of the Boost Up competition tomorrow afternoon. And last but not least, I have to mention our communication team. You know, we are a new kid on the block. We are an unknown organization, and with more than 1,000 registrations to our first EIT Manufacturing Summit today. This is a great achievement.
It is certainly a great achievement indeed, Klaus. Some very impressive numbers there. And to put all of this into pictures, let's take a quick look at this short video.
How we make things in the world is changing. Some people are worried. We're not. We see it as an opportunity to become fully digital, climate neutral, and highly innovative in these challenging times. And EIT Manufacturing is leading the way. We're creating a Europe-wide community of businesses, students, researchers, engineers, workers, digital nomads who are all working to improve your everyday life.
Hello, my name is Oriana Rodriguez.
My name is Harry.
Nuno Gouveia.
Sebastian. From France.
From Portugal.
We want to help
reduce energy waste
to transform and accelerate the European industry into the digital era. Bye.
Bye guys. See ya. From a network of industry heavyweights to up-and-coming startups, we're constantly on the lookout for great partnerships. By pairing knowledge, talent, and the right skills, we're able to challenge what we already know and create the unexpected. We want your ideas to come to life quicker, your investments to reach markets smoother, and to create more resilient supply chains. It's worth fighting for. New friends, new skills, and smart machines fully connected using fewer resources and taking care of the planet. We're not just about education and innovation for the industry, but we're also about ideas that drive society forward and make it grow. A new Europe is emerging. It's green, connected, and digital. Are you ready? We are. Be part of the change.
Well, be part of the change. You saw it there. That gives you a quick idea of the scope of EIT Manufacturing's activities over this past year. We are back again, and I'm pleased to say we're also joined, Klaus Bates is here with me, but we're also joined by Cecilia Warrell, who is the chair of EIT Manufacturing's supervisory board. She also runs the National Industry 4.0 program in her native Sweden, and she's joining us this morning from Stockholm. Welcome to you, Cecilia. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, and thank you very much, Karen, and very nice to see you, Klaus. I wish I was there. I am a bit lonely at home.
Exactly. Well, that's all to do with these extraordinary times that we're going through, but I'm so glad you could check in. Cecilia, we just heard the slogan there, be part of the change, in the EIT Manufacturing video. What exactly is it that this kick wants to change?
There are a lot of challenges to tackle, and even though Klaus and I are extremely proud of our achievements this first year, we are working from a very fragmented system where, for example, universities, education actors, the venture capital arena, for example, that can help companies to grow, and small companies and large companies, they're all very far apart from each other in Europe, and there's this kick hopes to build a lot of bridges between the SMEs and startups, as we heard from the contest, which is fantastic, that new smaller companies with new exciting technologies can enter into the manufacturing sector and bring a lot of value. And this is not done by itself. You have to sort of help the system and build the bridges. We also need to reskill people across Europe, because Industry 4.0, which we will be talking a lot about these days, demands a lot of new skills, demands a lot of new knowledge. And we have to bring a lot of people into short, efficient education programs if manufacturing in Europe is to withstand and grow in the global competition that we have.
Absolutely. So less fragmentation, obviously, across the European manufacturing landscape, upskilling. Klaus, any comments from you on what the EIT Manufacturing hopes to change?
Yeah, I mean, Cecilia already mentioned the manufacturing sector is currently in transformation in different directions towards the digital economy and towards the circular economy and the decarbonization of industry necessary to build our competitiveness on a long run. And we will support these transformation, and this is reflected in our strategic objectives. We have 6 strategic objectives in our strategic agenda, and one of them is environmental sustainable manufacturing. Here, we aim to support the industry to significantly reduce emissions, environmental pollution, and energy and material. And the second strategic objective is manufacturing fit for the digital age, focusing on the adoption of digital technologies like artificial intelligence and others along advanced manufacturing value chains.
Okay, thanks very much, Klaus. So we've seen a lot about what you're planning to do with the industry, but Cecilia, I'd like to come back to you because manufacturing has, of course, such a long historical tradition in Europe. Why is it so important? And tell us specifically, what are the benefits for EU citizens of a strong manufacturing sector?
Well, as I think all of us can realize, everything around us is manufactured. The clothes on our body, the desk you're standing at, everything, the cars that we drive, everything in our homes, etc., etc. So we are surrounded by products that are manufactured in advanced production systems all around the world. And you were saying yourself, Karen, at the entry point, more than 30 million people work directly in the manufacturing industry, and many, many more in multiple other areas. I could see in Sweden, where I am based, now during the crisis, during the COVID crisis, when some of the big auto industries, Scania, for example, they had to close down and really decrease their production for some weeks when it was the crisis was at its peak. And this has a major impact. It's all over the news. People are sent home from their jobs. The consultants, the law firms, the catering firms, etc., etc. They're all being put out of work. So when a crisis hits the manufacturing sector, it has a ripple effect across society. And we seem to take this sector for granted as well, because if you don't hear, no news is good news, so to speak. But I think that all of us, yeah.
That's very true, that so many things about the supply chains are taken for granted. That has definitely changed through this pandemic. Klaus, perhaps just briefly from you, the benefits for the partners of EIT Manufacturing.
Yeah, as Cecilia said, Europe's manufacturing sector consisting of more than 2 million companies. And this is critically important not only for Europe to maintain Europe's prosperity and welfare, but also the social sustainability. And one lesson learned from the COVID-19 crisis is that the increasing complexity and the fragmentation of supply chains is a big challenge. Moreover, Europe is leading in advanced manufacturing technology. For instance, Siemens is leading in industrial automation, but there are, besides Siemens, a lot of hidden champions in this domain. So in order to maintain this leading position, Europe requires a strong ecosystem of innovation, entrepreneurship, and integrating higher education and a highly active and open and visible community for manufacturing stakeholders. So being part of this community is already a value by itself for our partners.
Absolutely. Now, Cecilia, I'd like to come back to you again because the pandemic has obviously sparked, of course, renewed debate about reshoring, or we can also think of nearshoring, and we've seen a lot of stuff going on, for instance, in France with the government trying to lure manufacturing back to the country, but it's very clear that there's no quick fix for this. A number of companies are going to continue producing offshore. How can Europe perhaps best capitalize on its strengths in manufacturing?
Well, the only way forward and to build strong, resilient manufacturing companies is to continue with innovation. Continue innovate, continue building skills. The more you acquire advanced knowledge, advanced innovations, applying all these high-tech possibilities that there are out there, like 3D printing and all kinds of systems supporting circular manufacturing, the more we can move ahead and integrate this new knowledge into our manufacturing in Europe, we will stay ahead of the curve. But investments in innovation and skills is like the baseline. We will not get anywhere if we don't continue to invest. And this KIC is the platform to build the bridges, increase the skills, and thereby increasing competitiveness and resilience.
Absolutely. Increased investment, obviously, as the bottom line for all of this to succeed and go forward, but the EU pouring funds into things, and we will be discussing that later on today. I have one more quick question for you, Cecilia, because normally December 10th would be Nobel Prize Day, and it all had to be scaled down to a virtual ceremony. How's the mood in Sweden, just quickly, so we can finish up this session?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Nobel Day has been held for almost 100 years with prominent guests from across the globe coming to Stockholm with their families and receiving their prizes from the hands of the king. And of course, it's not exactly the same when you have the webcast sort of seminars and so on. But I think a lot of the discussions from the Nobel Prize winners will be taken care of on the television. We have a big light show all over Stockholm. The big buildings are being illuminated in beautiful patterns and with the themes from the Nobel Prize winners. So at the end of this conference, I invite you all to take a look at the Stockholm Nobel Week today.
Well, thanks for bringing us that little taste of Sweden and for keeping up the optimism. Obviously, lots of optimism up there, and we want to keep that going all across Europe and over this holiday season with the COVID pandemic, obviously putting a damper on things. But thank you very much for joining us from Stockholm, Cecilia Warrell and Klaus Beetz, for helping me to start off this first session. Obviously, I'll be seeing you later on today in session 4. And it's time now, dear participants, for a very short break, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes for session 2.
Europe is a global manufacturing hub. The sector employs more than over 30 million people, 16% of the European workforce, across more than 2 million enterprises, from vehicles through to pharmaceuticals and food products. Europe's manufacturing industry is one of the biggest drivers of economic growth on the continent. It makes up 20% of the EU's economy and accounts for 80% of EU good exports, transformed by the latest technology, including digitization, machine learning, and cloud computing. Manufacturing is at the heart of Europe's economic, social, and environmental sustainability. #Manufacturing Matters.